Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I have a very exciting deck profile update for you guys. So this is going to be an update to the Morphtronic deck profile, along with now the new Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, which just came out of the legendary duelist Synchro Storm. So I was fortunate enough to pull the Ghost Rare Crystal Clear Wing, and my gosh, this card is super cool, super beautiful, and actually has some really cool effects. So this is sort of an update to the Morphtronic Quasar build, which I have generally done on this channel. So switched up the extra deck just a little bit just for this profile, and just figured I would give you guys an update to the main Morphtronic deck. Really, the main core has not changed all too much, but we will just sort of go over everything. Again, if you guys are interested in any of my other builds, you guys can go ahead and check those out. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And one more final announcement. I actually just launched a TCG Player Sellers account. So for those of you guys who would like to support the channel, if like Patreon isn't an option for you guys, if you guys are interested in buying any cards, I just listed a lot of cards from the Megatins. I will be posting more stuff from like Burst of Destiny when that comes out. But without any further ado, if you guys want to check out my TCG Player account, I would really appreciate it. Now let's get on into the deck profile. So we are playing 3 copies of Morphtronic Selfon. He is like one of the main center points of the deck, because with him you roll a, once per turn you get to roll a 6-sided dice, and then depending on what you roll for the dice roll, let's say that you roll a 6, then you get to reveal the top 6 cards of your deck, and then you get to special summon a Morphtronic monster from among them, ignoring its summoning conditions. The really important thing with Selfon, along with all of the other Morphtronic monsters that have been released so far, is that none of them really have a hard once per turn. So the main focus of this deck is getting out Selfon and the Smartphon, and just making sure that you can get them onto the field over and over again with Monster Reborn-like effects in order to just keep abusing their effects and keep spamming the board. So then going on into Morphtronic Selfon's counterpart, we have the Smartphon. So we're playing 3 copies of the Smartphon. He special summons himself to the field by banishing a Morphtronic from your graveyard, which is really nice just to be able to get a free special summon out on board. He's also a tuner monster, so he helps with all of your synchro plays. And then once per turn, you roll a 6-sided dice, and then depending on what your die roll is, you reveal, and then you add a Morphtronic card from what you reveal into your hand. So this gives you a special summon, this gives you an add to hand, which is really handy. Also, all of the Morphtronic monsters have defense effects, but we generally don't use them too much. So these are all of their attack position effects I'm going to be mostly going over. And then I will point out the defense position effects, which are important. So then we're going to go on into the Remoten. This card actually does have a pretty decent defense effect, but the attack position effect is that when this card is on the field once per turn, you can banish a Morphtronic monster from your graveyard and then add another Morphtronic from your deck to your hand with the same level. So it is a really nice play, actually, that I've done before with this deck with Smartphon. You activate Smartphon's effect to search from the deck. You add a Remoten, normal summon the Remoten or get the Remoten out some way, and then you like link or synchro summon away your Smartphon, banish the Smartphon, and then you can add either another Smartphon or a Selfon from your deck to your hand, which is really handy just to be able to keep getting out those important monsters that you need, or just removing a level 4 if you need another level 4 or anything like that. Then we have our Morphtronic Vacuumin. His effects are more important on the defensive side. So when you have him in defense on your side of the field, once per turn, you can basically suck up one of your opponent's monsters, just like a vacuum, and equip it onto your Morphtronic Vacuumin, which is really cool, just to be able to suck up a monster that like maybe can't be destroyed by card effects or stuff like that. So I've used this to really great effect on some really big monsters. The only downside is that the effect does target, so you just have to keep all of that in mind. Another big thing is that these 3 guys, your Remoten, Selfon, and Vacuumin, are all machine duplication targets. So if you get out a Vacuumin and you are able to use machine duplication, you can actually suck up like 2 or 3 of your opponent's monsters and really break through boards, which is really crazy. Then we have our Morphtronic Scopin. So Scopin has attack and defense effects, which are really good. So when in attack position, once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 monster from your hand, which is really nice for like getting into a level 7 synchro play. And then also when it's in defense position, it is treated as a level 4 monster, so you can sort of change up its level a little bit for some level modulation if that matters, which is really nice because you can use Scopin along with like Smartphon to go in for like level 5 synchro plays, which is really cool. Then we're going on into our Boomboxin. then 2 copies of our Staplin, and then our 1 copy of Slingin. These are really just in here as level 4 fodder for synchro plays, but Slingin can pop a card on the field in just by destroying 1 Morphtronic card, which is nice just to be able to get a little bit of spot removal. Then the rest of these cards are just really in here. These are just in here as Earth monsters because you can actually go into Naturia Beast with Staplin or Boomboxin, and then with your Smartphone. So for that reason, I really like keeping these cards at these ratios. Generally, your Slingin, you're not going to be using him all that often. Getting on into the spells, we have our 3 copies of Machine Duplication. This card is super important. If you open with this card and your Selfon, you are probably actually going to be winning the duel because obviously with the dice roll effects, it is a little bit of a gamble style deck, so it doesn't always pop off. But if you open Machine Duplication and Selfon, then you're going to be sitting just fine. Then moving on into 3 copies of Desynchro. This card is just a godsend if you can get out Formula Synchron when you have out a Librarian, TG Hyper Librarian. If you get out those 2 at the same time, use Desynchro and then get back your Selfon and Smartphone. It can be really, really handy. You basically get to keep drawing 2 cards, and then you can reuse their search abilities, which is really, really crazy. You just have to make sure that Smartphone was properly summoned to the field the first time and that you didn't summon it off of a Selfon effect. Just a good tip for you guys. Then we have 3 copies of Junkbox. This is just a Monster Reborn for the Morphtronic deck. Then we have 3 copies of Morphtronic Repair Unit. It is another copy of Monster Reborn, but you have to discard a Morphtronic to get this effect off. So it's a little bit more like Different Dimension Reincarnation, but it comes from the graveyard. We have 2 copies of Morphtronic Accelerator. This card is cool. Just to be able to sort of like get your deck going as quickly as possible. I really like to just sort of combo off as hard as you can with this deck. I'm not really playing hand traps or even Called by the Grave in this. You really just want to get your deck going as hard as possible and make sure that all of your combos go through. The 1 card that you could replace in here with Called by the Grave would be Morphtronic Map. So this card is just in here because it is a field spell that when it gets destroyed, you get to special summon a Morphtronic from your graveyard. So what I generally do sometimes, if I have an Accelerator and I'm going first, this is more of a going second card, because what this card does is you return a Morphtronic monster from your hand back into the deck, and then you're able to destroy 1 card on the field and then draw 1 card. The only downside is that if your opponent hasn't laid out a field, you can't use this, or if they use something that can be like chained and doesn't get destroyed, then you don't get that draw effect. So I sometimes just destroy my own Morphtronic map, get a free Monster Reborn effect off from the map, and then you get to draw that card. So sometimes it can really help just to like keep going through with your combo. Then we have 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, 1 for 1 Monster Reborn, just because we're not playing enough copies of that. And then our 1 copy of Different Dimension Reincarnation. This card is really handy because you can banish a lot of cards with the Smartphone and Remoten. So you just banish whatever you want, like a Selfon, and then you just bring it back later with your DDR. But that is going to do it for the 40 card main deck. Again, you could sort of change up a little bit of stuff with like the Morphtronic map. That sometimes gets a little bit clunky. But I didn't want to add too much stuff from like the Clear Wing Synchro Dragon or like Speedroid stuff in here. I wanted to keep it mainly Morphtronics. So anyways, getting on into the extra deck, we have our 2 copies of Formula Synchron. This is probably one of your most important cards here in the extra deck, because when this card is summoned, you're able to draw 1 card from the top of your deck, which is really cool. And then you can also quick effect Synchro during your opponent's turn, which is pretty cool. Then we have 1 copy of Martial Metal Marcher. Basically, you want to go into Formula and then use another level 1 like Vacuumin or your Selfon in order to go into Martial Metal Marcher. Then Marcher will give you another tuner monster from your graveyard like a Smartphone, and then you're able to, this is going to be what gets you into your Crystal Clear, because you need basically Clear Wing Synchro Dragon and then a level 3 tuner Synchro. Going on then into TG Hyper Librarian. These three cards right here are what's going to really help you to spam cards out of your deck, help you to draw into all of your engine. We have one copy of Shiranori Sword Saga. This is just a fodder, basically. If you're just trying to go into another, like into a 5 to get into like your Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, so you can basically take these two, if you can synchro into them, take these two cards to go into a Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, just so that you don't have to get rid of your TG Hyper Librarian. If you do have kind of a bum hand, you can just go into Naturia Beast, which is really cool. Naturia Beast alone can sometimes just win duels. One Black Rose Dragon just as a backup in case your strategy goes south, and you can actually just leave out like TG Hyper Librarian and Crystron Halqifibrax, and then just go into these with a Formula Synchron. So overall, it works really, really nice together. One copy of Linkuriboh just to get something into your graveyard if you have to get a Cellfawn or a Smart Fawn into the graveyard in order to summon another Smart Fawn. One copy of Crystron Halqifibrax, one copy of IP Masquerena, one Nightmare Unicorn, and then one Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess. I should say right here that Crystron Halqifibrax does work really amazingly with your Morphtronic Sculpin, because like I said, when this card is in defense position, is treated as a level 4. Now, Crystron Halqifibrax negates only the activated effects of your monsters that you summon. So while it does negate the activated effects, it doesn't negate continuous effects. So if you get Scoping out in defense, it will still be treated as a level 4, which is really cool. Then for our Clear Wing stuff, we have our one Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Absolutely love this card. One copy of Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. This card is just amazing. Everyone knows that. And then the new boss monster, which is Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. So for those of you guys who don't know what this card does, what this does is that it requires one tuner synchro monster and then one non-tuner clear wing monster. So we're basically going to be summoning this out with our Crystal Clear Wing and our Martial Metal Marcher whenever we can get that out. Then with this, once per turn, when your opponent's monster activates a monster effect, you can quick effect activate this effect until the end of the turn. This face-up card is unaffected by all of your opponent's monster effects, and then this card gains attack equal to the monster that you targeted, which is really cool to be able to get that attack boost and just get free, protection from all of your opponent's monsters, not just the one. And then also it is able to negate a spell or trap card or effect by your opponent once per turn, again as a quick effect. So you get like full monster negation and then also a once per turn spell or trap negation, which is crazy. And then also with this card, if this is sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card, you can add one wind monster from your deck to your hand. And if you guys remember our Morphtronic Vacuumin, we do actually run one copy of, or we do run 3 copies of a wind monster in the deck, which is really fantastic just to be able to get this into our hand and then hopefully be able to summon it back out onto the field. If you get Vacuumin and then your Morphtronic Repair Unit, you can actually just pitch this to your graveyard as long as you have another Morphtronic in the grave, then summon it right back and then suck up one of your opponent's monsters, which is a really, really nice effect to have. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the deck profile. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this over explanation on how Morphtronics and the Crystal Clear Wing archetype works. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, don't forget to check out the TCG player. I'll leave links down in the description below. I would really appreciate it just to help fund the channel and also to help me sort of spread my name across the board even more across TCG player. We've had Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter now, all of that stuff. So go ahead and check out all of the links down in the description below. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and we will see you guys for the next profile. Peace.